Alright, y'all, so is this equal rights or just plain stupidity? What possessed her to go in that ring with that man? What possessed her, bro? These intersex, intergender matches are just stupid! Yes, I agree that women can do anything a man can do, but in regards to physical abilities, men are just built stronger.
Shut the f up. You thought you ate that?
If you had a daughter, would you advise her to jump in the ring with a man?
No.
Exactly, you wouldn't. And for those of you who would, y'all are delusional. Y'all don't care about y'all daughters. Even though they're at the age that like puberty doesn't really hit yet, it's just still not a good look. Cause when he rushed her, imagine if that was your daughter too or your sister, you're gonna be like, oh damn, is she all right? And that is a problem with intergender matches because sometimes someone will have to like ease up and not go full out.
The women got paid out from a pool of $30 million from the Women's World Cup. The men would draw from a pool of $400 million, okay? $400 million, $30 million. Why is that? It's because the Men's World Cup generates $6 billion in revenue. The Women's World Cup generates $131 million in revenue. If you want to talk about pay disparity, the Women's World Cup players get paid out 20% of the total revenue. The men get paid out 7%. As a percentage point, they are getting much more. The problem is, for anybody desiring equal pay, and by the way, I think equal pay is a ridiculous concept in and of itself. If the women generate more revenue, they should get paid more than the men. Don't strive for getting the same, strive for getting what you're worth. And if you're worth more, then get more.
If you're bringing more revenue, then you should get paid more. Like, how would you feel if you were a doctor? You spent those years in school, going through 4 years of college, medical school, residency, and someone that's working at McDonald's making the same amount of money as you with you being a doctor. How would you feel? Like a dumbass, right? But no one complains when there's an actual wage gap in the adult industry. Women make way more money than men in the adult industry. We don't complain about that.
Is there a wage gap in the adult industry?
Yeah, I think men are like significantly underpaid, and I think they work some men really hard.
I think there's a lot more women than men doing porn. Porn needs more men. I hope there's more male talent that gets involved in industry.
Honestly, what porn watcher is going to watch porn for the man? Unless you like gay, you know what I'm saying? But the majority of porn watchers are not going for the man.
Why do you rarely hear complaints about female porn stars making more money than male stars?
That's a really good question. I don't know.
To me, all that's doing is like flattening income amongst people, right? Like income inequality is a bad thing.
I think that this is one of the only industries where a woman will most times make more money than a man. And while I totally think that every man should be paid what they deserve, I also am so happy that women are finally put in a position where they can earn more than the man. Even though I think the men should earn more, I'm really happy that women have an industry where they dominate, because there's not a lot of industries where women dominate, so.
More people want to see the female porn stars, which is why they make more money. So it makes sense, right? So since men's sports bring in more money, they should be paid more. Simple. Same logic. It's the same logic.
The strongest man in the entire world turns weak as a lamb when they catch their girl at the hotel. Welcome back to Rice's Rules.
She don't even give a fuck. She's walking off with that guy. Women can hurt a man very deep emotionally and mentally. And it's also the same vice versa. Like, it doesn't matter how strong a man can seem, how alpha he can be. If he really loves a girl and that girl betrays his trust and his loyalty and his love, he's gonna be hurt. It's gonna hit deep. Whether he decides to show his emotion like this man right here, or he decides to be just silent and neutral, like he's still hurting deep on the inside. That's why a lot of guys that get cheated on, or guys that break up with their girl, they go on a fucking spree. They just to try to numb the pain. But instead of numbing the pain, they're just sharing that pain with other women and other partners, bro. It's a cycle. But I do think we all have to experience heartbreak to know what it's like to be loved and experience love with another girl or another man, for all the women that's watching. For all the 7% of women that watches my channel.
So masculinity is a problem because it is a condition where you will fight back, which is the #1 thing that they never wanted. Where there are masculine men, there are safer environments. And what do I mean? This whole toxic masculinity farce that people try to toss out here. The term toxic masculinity came from 2 Caucasian men. There we go again. Shepard Bliss and Robert J. Stoller. #2, if that term came out and then it became overshadowing of what masculinity is, it blurs the lines of what masculinity is and what it is not. So now what people perceive as masculinity is putting their hands on a woman. That's masculine. No, that's not what masculinity is. Masculinity would prevent a man from putting his hands on his woman. Masculinity protects the community. Masculinity raises and respects children. Masculinity secures women. Masculinity makes it to where you're not gonna step over here and not get checked if you don't operate properly. That's what masculinity is. Toxicity is the opposite of masculinity. You can't even put those together, because the other thing is you knew it was an agenda because you never hear people talk about toxic femininity. But it's always toxic masculinity. Why? Because the agenda is to make the man weak, because if you have weak men, you have women who are not going to be able to be protected. So if they don't have their security, we will be able to take control of them. It is the same tactic in a new package in this generation, where they are looking at make sure we are able to destroy them slowly but surely, and make sure they don't have any men to protect them. Even though women can protect themselves, they shouldn't have to.
This was an excellent breakdown. I wish people would stop using this toxic masculinity term and this toxic femininity, even though no one really uses toxic femininity. We should just ban those labels, man, and just call it what it is. Toxic. You're just being toxic. If you do toxic shit, you're a toxic person. It's not because you're toxically masculine or toxically feminine. You're just toxic. You do toxic shit. So quit demonizing masculinity.
What's your biggest flex?
I don't want to sound cocky or anything, but like I'm really pretty.
Huh?
A lot of people just like want to talk to me. Hey. Shit.
I'll see her in the gym. Yeah, so I found this video on TikTok where this girl is dancing and she's complaining about like men watching her and shit, even though she's dancing in public. Like, take a look.
Let's talk about the fact that when you are creating your own world, people think that it is you giving them permission to enter your mother effing world. I am here dancing because I love it. I love to do it. I am in my own world. I get lost in it. I feel elevated. I feel so connected to myself, to my intuition. I love it. I am thriving in my own energy. But people think that because they're seeing a beautiful girl like myself doing this in public, that I am asking for attention. When I say this is my world, everybody else is living in it, I mean it. And the only attention that I need is my own.
All right, so let's go ahead and break this down. She's a great dancer. She's beautiful, she has a great body, and she's in public. So with all these factors right here, of course she's gonna pull some attention. People might stop and look for a little bit, then keep on about their business. So you can think that you're in your own world, but when you're in public, you are mixed in with other worlds, other people. So if you really want to be in your own world, then do it in private then. You can't be out in public and not expect people to watch or notice you or acknowledge you, because you are a good dancer and you're attractive, so that energy you're emitting is gonna pull people in naturally. The only part that could be messed up about this is if they're disrespectful with the attention. If they like try to like stop you or interrupt you, or they just stare at you creepily like that, then that's messed up. Like if I go in public and shake my ass around,
introduced for the first time ever anywhere,
somebody's gonna look at me. You know what I'm saying? Somebody gonna look at me. All right, but with that said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you enjoyed it. Peace out.